Let's recite chapter 15. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulam Madhashakam Ashwatam Prahuravayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved Adhaschordhvam Prasatastasya Sakha Guna Pravirda Vishaya Pravala Adascha Mulani Anusamtatani Karmanubhandini Manushaloke Narupamasye Atatopalapyate Nanto Nachadir Nachasam Pratishta Ashwatamenam Suvirudamulam Asanga Sastrena Dridena Chitva Tatha Padam Tat Parimargitavyam Yasmin Gatana Nivatanti Bhuya Tam eva chadyam purusham prapadye yatta pravarti prashata purani nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivreta kama Dvandver vimukta sukha dukha samnir kachanta muda padamavyayam tat Na tadvasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante taddhama paramam mama mamayvamso jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakatishthani karshati Sariram yadavapnoti yakchapyutkramati swara krihituetani samyati vayurgandhani vansayat Srotram chakshus prasanam cha rasanam granam evacha adhisthaya manaschayam visayan upasevate Utkramantam sthitam vapi bunjanam va gunanvidam vimudhananupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshusha yatanto yoginaschainam pashyantyaatmanyavashtitam yatanto pyakritaatmano nainam pashyanta chetasaha Yat adityagatam tejo jagat vasayate khilam yak chandramasi yak chaknau tat tejo vedimamakam gam avishya cha bhutani darayamyaham ojasa pushnami chausadi sarva somo bhutva rasatmaka aham vaishvanaro bhutva Praninam deham ashrita pranapana samayukta pachamyanam chaturvidam sarvasya chaham hridisam nivishto matta smitiryana apohanam cha vedescha sarve ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham Dvau imau purushau loke charascha chara evacha chara sarvani bhutani kutashto chara uchyate uttama purushastvanya paramatmetyudarata yo lokatrayamavishya vibhartyavyaya ishvara yashmacharam atitoham aksharaadapi chodama Atosmi loke vede cha pratita purushottama yo mamevam asammudo janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata iti guyatamam shastram idam muktam maya naga etad budhva buddhimanchat kritakrityascha bharata. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjun Samvade Purushottama Yogo Nam Panchadasodhyaya. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Krishna Arpanam Mastu Shubham Bhuyat वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु. Hari Om. So since this is the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, Sri Krishna is summarizing all the points which were raised in the past 17 chapters. So this chapter is entitled Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. That means the path to moksha or liberation through sannyasa, which means through renunciation. And what was the title of the first chapter? What was the title of the first chapter? Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which means the first chapter, Arjuna fell into a state of Vishada, which means a state of desperation, despondency, confusion, etc. So you can see the journey of the Gita, how beautifully it starts from when a person falls into a state of despondency into chapter 1, in chapter 1. And when Arjuna, in that state of despondency, he surrenders everything and turns towards the Lord in chapter 2, how the Lord slowly picks him up through question and answers, enlightening him, removing his ignorance and confusion. Slowly, step by step, it brings him to the final chapter, which is what? Moksha. So, what is the journey of the Gita? From Vishada, from the state of despondency, and it ends in the state of moksha, in the state of enlightenment. That is the journey of the Gita. Okay. So, but the problem is we wrongly think that renunciation means giving up all our duties, responsibilities, giving up everything and going to sit in a jungle or a cave or ashram and meditating. But Krishna has very beautifully defined what is renunciation and what is not renunciation. So first of all, what is not renunciation? We go back to chapter 18, verses 7 and 8. There he defines what is the wrong renunciation. So in verse 7, first he talks about what is a tamasic renunciation. So what is tamasic renunciation? Giving up of bounded duty. That means whatever is your duty to your household, to your business, to your career, if one gives up that and thinks that that is renunciation, Krishna says that is the wrong renunciation. You should never give up your bounden duty. Whatever you find yourself, depending on your age, as you progress in life, your duties change. And from place to place, in home you have different duties, you go to work, different duties. To your society, maybe you do service to your temple, there's a different duty. Every duty must be performed. So tamasic is giving up the duties and out of delusion. Out of delusion means the person doesn't understand what is true renunciation. He thinks that he sees all the Swamijis sitting in the ashram, they don't have any work, they don't have any responsibilities. Wrongly, he understands that to be the right renunciation. But actually, Krishna is saying giving up your duty is wrong. So, what is the other type of wrong renunciation? Verse number 8, rajasic renunciation. Rajasic renunciation is giving up action which you find as troublesome. You find the duty as troublesome. You have to do this, you have to do that. You find your duty very troublesome. And most of the time, when we find duty troublesome, what do we do? Huh? We run away, but before that, what do? You like to compare with other people's duty. And you see, what that fellow seems to be having a very nice life, everything very okay. Why am I the one suffering? So we start questioning. And then we think better we just give up our duty, run away. Isn't that what Arjuna also wanted to do? Run away from battlefield. So one who abandons actions as troublesome from fear of physical suffering, lot of stress, lot of pain, lot of challenges, okay, does not attain the merit of renunciation. Renunciation is supposed to give us a merit, it's supposed to give us a result. We think by just giving up action, we are going to get the merit of renunciation. Krishna says, no, you're not going to get it. What is the merit of right renunciation? That we will understand slowly. So Krishna says this kind of relinquishment or giving up is rajasic. So now this is what we should not do. We should not consider that as true renunciation. And if you think about it, if Bhagavad Gita wanted to prescribe running away from our duties and going to a forest or ashram as renunciation, why did Krishna stop Arjuna from running away from the battlefield? Arjuna wanted to not fight this battle, he wanted to become a sannyasi. If that was the correct way, what would Krishna say? Yes, please, Arjuna, go ahead. You're doing the right thing, renunciation. Then you know what is the best advantage that Arjuna done that? If Krishna had told Arjuna, Arjuna, you want to become a sannyasi? Yes, please go. That is the right thing you're doing. You know what is the best benefit? Best benefit to us. Huh? What? You only have to study first chapter of Gita. No 17 more chapters to study. Finish. Tatastu all gone, everybody go back. Chapter 1 over. But no, Krishna said, no, you don't leave the battlefield. By running away, you're making the biggest mistake. So what is the message of the Gita is what? Live a life of action. Perform all your duties and responsibilities. And what is the correct way? He gave us in chapter 18, verse number 9, which is sattvic renunciation. What is sattvic renunciation? Obligatory action. What are all your obligations, your duties, your responsibilities, which is done as a duty? So when you do anything as a duty means what? You should not expect any rewards. You should not expect any gratitude because it is something that you have to do. Giving up attachment and fruit. So not expecting any results and rewards. Okay. That alone is regarded as a sattvic form of relinquishment. Right? Very clear. What is renunciation? What is sannyasa? Doing your duty, not running away from your duty. With what attitude? Giving up attachment and fruit. So the question is, if I follow this sattvic renunciation, what is the end result of it? If I follow this advice in chapter 18, verse 9, I do all my duties, I give up attachment, I give up the fruit of my actions. What is the end result? Purification of mind. That is what you are going to attain. Because first you need to attain purification of mind. Your mind is full of ego, anger, greed, jealousy, all these kind of things. By doing action with the right attitude, first of all, you have to attain purification of mind. That is the first part of this whole journey, right? And this right attitude involves two aspects. I've discussed this before. I'll just refresh your mind. The first aspect we call as Ishvara Arpanam. So every duty I'm doing is not for my family or my business or whatever. My duty is my service to you, O Lord. This duty I'm doing, I am serving you because this is your creation. You have put me in this situation for me to exhaust my karmas to do my duty. So this is my duty to you. Ishvara Arpanam. I do it without any ego. There's no selfish desire. You see, when Duryodhan came to the battlefield, okay, Duryodhan came to battlefield, Arjuna came to battlefield, Sri Krishna came to battlefield. Duryodhan looked at the whole war. What he said? I want to fight everybody. I want to kill everybody. I want my kingdom. I want that kingdom. That was his attitude, selfish attitude. I don't care who I have to kill. I don't care what crimes I have to commit. I want my kingdom. Arjuna came to battlefield. He said what? I don't want to fight. I don't want to kill. I don't want the kingdom. I don't want anything. What did Krishna say? Krishna said, the fight is not, the result of the fight is not whether you get the kingdom, whether you get victory, whether you get what you call defeat. Okay? What is the purpose of fighting? Huh? To uphold dharma. So what is that strong message to us? Every action that we are doing, we are not going to look at the outcome of the action. Only one question we must ask ourselves. Is this dharmic action? That's all. Taking care of my family, is this dharmic action? Yes. Doing my duty to the company, is it dharmic action? Yes. Then the result will come. The result will come, whatever it is. So, Ishvara Arpanam, surrender, understand that my action is dharmic as a service to the Lord, that is Ishvara Arpanam. Second aspect is Ishvara Prasadam, because there will be a result. Every action you do, there will be a result. And that result can be positive, can be negative. But because you have surrendered your action to the Lord, the result is also coming from the Lord. And therefore, I consider every result, whether positive or negative, as Ishvara Prasad. That there is some lesson for me. If it is positive, I must not get proud, I must not get carried away, I must not get egoistical. If it is unfavorable, I must learn a lesson from it. What is the reason I failed in this action? Why did this happen? I must learn a lesson from this and not let it depress me, send me into a state of dejection, etc. Because there has got to be a reason for this, right? So that is the path of action. Now, in this chapter 18, Krishna selected what you call 6 topics for us to go on the right path of renunciation. To follow sattvic renunciation, Krishna chose 6 topics that we have to correct ourselves. First is jnanam. We have to equip ourselves with right knowledge. Because if we don't have right knowledge, all the actions which we be doing will be all wrong actions, misguided actions. So, all the 6 topics he divided into sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Right? We have covered 5 topics already. So, first topic you must remember, we must have jnanam, sattvic jnanam, right jnanam, right knowledge. Okay, you can go back and read up on the earlier verses which we have covered. Second topic he covered was karma. What is the definition of right action and what is wrong action? So, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic karma, everything he explained very clearly to us. So, if my knowledge is sattvic, my karma will be, if my knowledge is sattvic, my karma will be sattvic, right? If I have right knowledge, I will have right action. Okay. Third topic that he talked about was karta, the doer. What should be the attitude of the doer? What kind of sattvic attitude we should have, the karta, the doer. Fourth is buddhi. Now we think buddhi, intellect means there is only one type of buddhi, but he said no, there are 3 types of buddhis. Sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So you can have people coming for a lecture with 3 different type of buddhis, and the message they take back will be also 3 different types, right? Sattvic person will say, this is wonderful lecture, there's enlightenment, there's something for me to learn and take back. Rajasic person will say, this is all rubbish. There is long time for me to practice to get enlightenment. What is enlightenment? I don't know. Better I want instant gratification. Tamasic person with tamasic buddhi, why no idea? Because he'll be sleeping in class. Tamasic person, lazy, right? So 3 different types of buddhi, same knowledge given can result in 3 different results. So buddhi also we must be careful to cultivate the sattvic buddhi. How do we cultivate sattvic buddhi? By reading the scriptures, by attending satsangs, by meditation, etc. Okay? Next is a very important quality, dhriti. Dhriti means to have that commitment, that dedication, that perseverance. Because on the spiritual journey, we will meet many, many challenges. There will be many, many obstacles. So they will always be pushing us back. So we must have that commitment, that perseverance. And finally, the last topic which we are going to discuss today, all the actions that we perform, every action that we perform, whether human beings perform, whether animals perform action, insects perform action, what is the ultimate goal of every action? What is the ultimate goal of every action? Huh? Do you want sorrow out of every action? What are you seeking from every action? Happiness, sukham. So that is the 6th and final topic. But this sukham also Krishna says is of 3 types. There is a sattvic sukham, a rajasic sukham, and a tamasic sukham. So we must understand when we are facing this happiness, are we getting the right happiness? Is it the correct happiness? So we will look today at the first verse 37, which will describe, Krishna will describe what is sattvic sukham. Okay. So sattvic sukham is where a person is not dependent on the external world for his happiness. Okay. Because he has found the inner joy of happiness. But in order to get this inner joy first, there is a journey that we have to go through. Okay. And what is that journey? He says, Sattvic Sukham yet agre. In the beginning, Sattvic Sukham is any action that you do where you're looking for happiness. But what happens? Yet agre, in the beginning, Visham Iva. Iva, it is like Visham, like poison. He doesn't say it is poison. It is like poison. Very careful on the wording. Visham Iva. Now the question is, why is it like poison when we are starting on the spiritual path? Why does it seem so difficult, so challenging? It's very tough. Many people say, I cannot understand the Gita, I cannot understand all this. Very tough. Why do we find it very tough in the beginning? It's not poison, it doesn't kill you, but it seems like poison. Why do we find it so tough? What is the reason? Whenever we start, I'm sure all of us have gone through that in the beginning. Maybe now I don't know whether you still find it like poison. But in the beginning, why do you find it like poison? Why is it so tough? Sorry? Yeah, why is it so difficult for us to understand, come for classes, go for lectures, sit down and read the scriptures, do meditation? Why do we find it so tough and so difficult? What? Ignorant discipline. But all this, why? The question is why?
So used to our early.
So what has happened? The past years of your life, or even the previous lives, what have you been doing? You have been chasing all the worldly things. So what is your mind now? Your mind is filled with all the layers of indiscipline, of dirt, of ego, of this, everything else. So whenever you try to discipline the mind will rebel. You want to sit down, read the scriptures, the mind says, go and have a cup of coffee, watch some TV. Because that is the lifestyle you have been conditioned yourself to. Now you're trying to change your mind, you're trying to fight with the mind. So definitely in the beginning, there is a challenge. There is a lot of challenge from your mind. So first of all, we have to wipe away all this dirt and dust from our mind. Okay, that's why in the beginning, Krishna says it takes time. It takes time for you find it like poison. But he says, how do you eradicate it? Through all the satsang. Okay, if you're consistent, that's why dhriti is very important. Fortitude, commitment, dedication. If you're serious, you must keep time aside every day and push yourself. I don't know whether, if you recall this story about this told in the Puranas about the demons and what you call the devas and the asuras who tried to churn the ocean. Now, when they were churning the ocean, what was the reason they were churning the ocean? For the nectar, the amritam, right? But before the nectar could come out, what came out? Poison came out. So this is a very interesting point. Poison came out. Before the nectar came out, poison came out. So, and also with the poison came out many other beautiful material things also. The asuras got so lost in all these material things that they started chasing after that. But the devas knew that keep on churning, disregard all these material things. At the end, there is the amritam. So here Krishna says, what do you call? In the beginning, it is like poison. But what happens? Pariname, in the end. So beginning is poison. If you're consistent, you are dedicated on the path. Pariname, in the end, amritopamam. It is nectar. Amrit is like amrit. It is like nectar. What is the nectar? The nectar means you get peace of mind, purity of mind, cleanliness of mind, a mind that is not agitated so easily, a mind that does not give in to anger, ego, greed, etc. So there is a challenge. Definitely on the spiritual path, there is a challenge. He's telling us very clearly. So in fact, you should be very careful. If anything gives you instant gratification, you should be, on the contrary, be very careful about that. So he says in the beginning, it is like poison, but in the end, it is like nectar. And where is the source of this happiness? Where is the source? So he tells us here in this verse, Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. This happiness is not coming from the world outside. You see, you are an embodiment of Atma. You are Satchit Ananda. Okay, right now, Atma is there, consciousness is there. That is your real identity. That is an embodiment of Satchit Ananda. But you cannot experience this Satchit Ananda. Why can't you experience it? It is there right now in you. It is in me. It is in everybody. Why can't we experience it? Why are we not able to experience this? Why?
Not pure.
Huh?
Not sufficiently pure.
What is not sufficiently pure? The mind is not sufficiently pure. In order for you to experience, the mind has got so many layers of dirt and dust that there is Atma there, but you cannot experience it. So what is the spiritual journey? Is to remove this dirt. As you keep removing this dirt from your mind, automatically your mind will come to experience the state of Satchidananda. So the spiritual journey is not finding that happiness. The spiritual journey is removing this dirt in order for you to experience this happiness. This Atma Buddhi. So is Buddhi first, is knowledge about Atman. I come to know that I am this Atman. Then I start putting in the necessary, what we call practices, in order to remove this dirt through karma yoga, through upasana yoga, through jnana yoga, and then I will experience this bliss within. Now, when we don't experience this bliss and we are all searching for happiness, that is what drives us to go and look for happiness in the outside world, right? Because you don't experience this happiness, you are searching for happiness, so you start looking for happiness in the outside world. Okay. Now, that's why the scriptures also give us knowledge to analyze the world by giving us some kind of examples. Okay. So first of all, Krishna says, Tat Sukham Proktam. This happiness which comes from, which is like poison in the beginning and Amrit or nectar in the end, Krishna summarizes by saying, Tat Sukham, that happiness, Proktam is spoken of as Satvikam Sukham. So the definition is given. Now, how do the scriptures train us to identify this kind of happiness? We have to analyze the world. We have to analyze the world. What is the world? We are engaging in the world. We are looking for happiness in the world. But what is the reality of the world? So the scriptures give us 5 examples to understand what is the nature of the world. So first, they compare the world to a forest. The first example is comparing the world to a forest. Now, supposing you are lost in the forest. What is in the forest? You're lost in the jungle or you're lost in the forest. What is in the forest? Animals, wild animals are there. Dangerous insects are there. There's danger in the forest, right? If you're lost in the forest and you know it's a dangerous place, would you just sit down there and wait? What would you do? You'll find a way how to get out of the forest. So they're comparing the world to a dangerous forest. Your journey is to find a way out of this forest. Don't make the forest your home. In the same way, world is not your final destination. So they compare the world to a forest. The second is example they give us, the world is like a desert. So just like when you're in a desert, what is the thing that you're seeking? Water and what else? Shade. You need shade and you need water. But in the desert, there's something which is called a mirage. So you run towards a mirage and you find actually it is nothing there. So they're telling us that the world also is like a desert. It looks like there is happiness there. You chase after it, but in the end, you get nothing back from it. So what is the true shelter that you're seeking is seeking shelter from the Lord. So the desert is where you must look for the right place. What is the right place in the desert is called an oasis, right? Where there is shelter, there's water. So that is what you're seeking is the oasis. So second example is the desert. Third example they give the world is like you are swallowed by a python. If a python swallows you, what do you do? Do you just relax and enjoy the thing? You will struggle and find a way out, right? So again, they're telling us the same thing. The world is like a python. It has swallowed you inside. Your journey is make the effort to get out of this python. Before you get digested by the python, before you get lost in this world, you have to find a way out of this world. Now, when we say find a way out of this world, it doesn't mean that you run away from the world again. What it means is, how do I perform my actions and elevate myself spiritually and don't get entangled in this materialistic world? And the fourth example is given to compare the world like a house on fire. So when the house is on fire, what do? You have so many possessions in the house. You got your television set, you got your whatever, all the precious possessions, your money, your gold, your diamonds or whatever. When the house is on fire, what do? Do you sit down calmly, take a box, and then try to put all your money inside, your jewelry inside, your television set? What do? You run for your life. You save your life first. So they are saying the world also is like a fire, like a house on fire. You have all your possessions. Don't get attached. Don't get entangled with your possessions. And finally, the last example they give is like the world is like a deep well. If you have fallen into a deep well, you will always try to struggle to find a way out of this well. So, same way also they say the world is also like a well. So, when the wise one sees the world, if a person has got the wrong ideas about the world, he will just run towards the world. But when a wise one sees the world, he realizes the dangers of the world. He will not go and indulge himself in the world. He will find the right path how to deal with the world. So, if you recall, very way back in chapter 2, Krishna gave a very beautiful allegory for this. Chapter 2, verse 69. Go to chapter 2, verse 69. That's on, what's the page there? 56. So, this description was for a person who is awakened to the reality of the world, a wise person who realizes what is the nature of the world. That which is night to all beings, in that state of divine knowledge and supreme bliss, the God realized yogi keeps awake. And that a transient world in which all beings keep awake is night to the seer. So when the realized person, he sees the world, he sees danger, the rest of the people all are running towards the world. He keeps away. And that person, he sees the reality in the spiritual path, he goes towards the spiritual path, but the ignorant people run away from it. You know what? There's a beautiful saying. What was that? Angels fear to tread. What was that? Where devils, something like that. What was it? I can't recall the exact. Angels tread where, where devils like to go, angels will stay away from it. Where angels run towards that, devils stay away from it. So it depends on us, on our enlightened mind. We analyze, we know the nature of the world. We don't indulge in it, but we know how to use the world to exhaust our karmas, to do our duty to the world, and rise spiritually. So now that is sattvic happiness. What is the rajasic happiness? He explains in verse 38. Okay? Rajasic happiness also gives happiness. It is not that rajasic people don't get happiness. They are selfish people. They like to indulge in all these worldly activities. They find happiness in it. But what is the source of this happiness? So Krishna says, Tat Sukham, that happiness, yet by which, how, see, sattvic happiness was by connecting with your inner self, with that Satchit Ananda, right? A Rajasic person finds happiness by some yoga, contact of Vishaya objects and the Indriya senses, meaning that person finds happiness by his senses running outwards towards the world. So the eyes are seeking something nice, the ears want to hear nice music, the tongue wants to taste nice food. All the senses are running outwards to seek happiness from the world. Now, what is the nature of the world? We are seeking happiness from the world, but what is the nature of the world? Anyway, before that, normally when we seek happiness, what kind of happiness do we want? What kind of happiness do you want? Do you want little bit happiness, part-time happiness, temporary happiness? You want permanent, lasting happiness. And where are you seeking this lasting happiness? In the world. And what is the nature of the world? Refer chapter 9, verse 33. Krishna has given us a definition of what is the world. Chapter 9, verse 33, page 177. Just look at the third line of the Sanskrit text. Okay. Anityam Asukam, lokam. Lokam, this world, has got two qualities. One is anityam. Nityam means permanent. Anityam means temporary. Sukham is happiness. Asukam is sorrow. So what is the nature of this world? It is temporary and it gives you sorrow. And we have to understand this. Anything that is temporary, that means subject to arrival and departure. So upon arrival, it gives you happiness. Upon departure, it gives you sorrow. And what is the nature of the world? Is it permanent or is it temporary? It's temporary. So when the world is temporary and you are searching for permanent happiness in a temporary world, definitely you will find there is disappointment. But rajasic people do not know about the inner happiness, so their senses are constantly seeking external objects, relationships, going on holidays, etc. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not that we cannot mingle with people, we cannot go on holidays and all, that's fine. But the idea here is that we should not get attached to that. We go, we have a holiday, we enjoy ourselves, we come back, we just leave it aside. You keep on thinking and thinking and thinking about that, that is when the attachment develops. Okay. So, how is this rajasic happiness? Is enjoyed through the senses in contact with the world. And what does this happiness produce? He says in this verse, Agre, in the beginning. Sattvic happiness in the beginning was what? What was sattvic? Huh? Not poison. Like poison. Like poison. Don't say poison. Like poison. Now he says, rajasic happiness, agre, in the beginning, is like amritopaman eva, like amrit. Now it is not amrit, it is like amrit. Because amrit is something that will give you permanent happiness. But rajasic happiness is like nectar because it seems like it's giving you happiness. Instant gratification, instant pleasure, instant excitement you will get from the world immediately, right? You go to a nice restaurant, have a meal, instant happiness. Go on holiday, instant happiness. So it is like Amrit. But he says, Pariname, in the end, it is, now he doesn't even use eva. He says, it is visham, it is poison. Directly telling us, it is not like poison, it is poison. Why is it poison? Because it will cause you pain, it will cause you misery, it will cause you distress. And when you spend so much of effort pursuing the world for your pleasures, what do you lose? What do you lose? When all your life you are pursuing, why do we pursue so much of pleasures? To please this body, isn't it? Everything we do is to please this body, right? Please the senses, please the body. What do you call a person whose whole life is running after pleasures to please this body? What do you call such a person? Huh? What? A busybody. Nothing better to do. So, for a busybody, because you're pleasing the body only. That's all you're doing. Now, when you spend your whole life running after the world, so much of things, there is so many attractions in the world. When you spend so much of your time, what is it that you lose out? Peace of mind, knowledge you lose out, right? The right qualities you lose out. And that's why I say that's why it becomes like poison. Because in the end, your mind gets agitated, your mind gets disturbed, your mind gets more and more greedy. When greed, you see, do you all know the difference between samskaras and vasanas? You've heard these two terms, samskaras and vasanas. Do you know the difference between these two? Have you all heard these terms, samskaras and vasanas, right? Now, how do they affect us? See, this is exactly what is happening here. Samskara is like a seed, okay? Vasana is when the seed sprouts. That is a vasana. Now, what does it mean to us? Supposing we we are now doing many actions out of greed. Okay, there is greed in you. That is your samskara. Where does this samskara come from? Past actions. Okay, you have been a very greedy person. You have been running after many things. So your seed now is greed. Because the seed is greed, what will be the vasana? It will be greed. So vasana is when the greed sprouts, it drives you to greedy actions. The more greedy actions that you do, what happens to the seed? The seed gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you start with a little bit greed, you keep on acting out of greed, the vasanas become stronger, the greed becomes stronger, and you carry this into your next life. So in the way, the whole thing multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. So that's why he says in the end it becomes like poison, because it doesn't give you peace of mind. When you act out of greed, anger, jealousy, etc., you make all these qualities very strong in you. In the beginning, your mind is in control. At the end, these are things that control your mind. So it makes your life like hell. So he says, Visham Iva. Okay. And we have experienced all this. Sorry.
It's been said. So to
Yeah.
exhaust. Us,
Okay. Okay.
exhausted.
Right.
So just meant by that
Okay.
nurture this.
You see, you are born with certain samskaras which you carry forward from your previous life. Now, you have two choices. Either you give in to these samskaras, okay? Okay, either you give in to the samskaras or you try to change your habits, you try to break away from the samskaras, right? Now, do you have a right to do that? Are you sure? Yes, you have a right. Why? Because as a human being, you have been gifted with what we call free will, right? So you have a choice. Now, if you decide, let's say you have greedy samskaras, and you decide that I want to change my life, what do you do? Huh? You have to do what is opposite. So you do more spiritual things. You do more seva, you do more dhanam, you go for spiritual talks. As you're doing this, what happens to this seed now? It becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. And what happens to your spiritual seed now? It gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So your thought patterns change, your desires change, your actions change. But it all requires effort, it requires commitment, dedication. That's why dhriti, they keep on talking about dhriti.
So vasanas also
Vasanas will also
will
change, right? So you have more vasanas for spiritual things. You like to go for bhajans, spiritual talks. You like to go pilgrimages. So these vasanas keep, in the beginning, it's like lighting a match, which is very dim. But if you start striking more and more matches, the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then your vasanas for the spiritual part get stronger. And that's how you can, what we call, progress on the spiritual path. Keep on purifying your mind. Okay. Every good action you do purifies the mind. Good action you do purifies the mind. But if you give in to your samskaras, then you make them stronger and stronger and stronger. So the success on the spiritual path now lies in whose hand? Huh? Your own hands, isn't it? It is up to you whether you want to make a change in your life or not. Right? So you have to make a commitment and change, keep time aside for your spiritual path. So real happiness is that which puts end to sorrow. But rajasic happiness, on the contrary, invites more and more sorrow. It starts with Amrit, ends up as what we call Visham, as poison. Okay. Now, what about tamasic happiness now? Okay. Tamasic happiness. So he says in verse 38, this is known as rajasic. Smritam, this type of happiness, where it is like nectar in the beginning and poison in the end, beware, that is called rajasic happiness also. Okay? And now we talk about tamasic happiness in verse number 39. What is tamasic happiness? Okay. So, see, tamasic person also can be happy. Sattvic person is happy through actions. Rajasic person is happy through different type of actions. But tamasic person, he doesn't perform any actions, but still very happy. Right? So we'll see, where does this happiness come from? He's not interested in material pursuit. He's not interested in spiritual pursuit, but still he's a very happy person. Right? So Krishna describes this. Tat sukham, that happiness, agre, in the beginning, anubandhe, is the result. Okay? The result of what? Mohanam, delusion. It arises out of delusion. Delusion means basically ignorance. What is the goal? What is the purpose of life? This person has no goal of life, no purpose of life. So it arises out of delusion, atmanaha, of oneself. Okay. So how does this person derive his happiness from? The first example Krishna gives is nidra, sleep. By sleeping, enjoys a lot of happiness. Now you may say, what's wrong with that? Is it wrong to enjoy happiness out of sleep? All of us also enjoy happiness out of sleep, isn't it? So what is wrong?
Excessive.
Excessive sleep, exactly. And excessive sleep means what? Neither are you progressing materially, neither are you progressing spiritually also. So here we are talking not about just sleep, but excessive sleep, giving into excessive sleep. Okay. What else? Alasya, laziness, procrastination. Okay, doesn't want to get involved in anything. The only reason he will get up is to eat. And after he eats, go back to sleep again. So eating, sleeping, of course he has to go to work. But at work also he tries to avoid as much work as he can. Alasya, laziness. Okay. Next quality of his happiness or source of his happiness is pramadotam, which means negligence. I don't want to do this. I don't care about this. I don't want to know anything, right? Total negligence of all duties and responsibilities. So if any problem also happens, he's just not bothered. He just doesn't care at all. So he's not interested to change himself, neither is he interested to do his duties and responsibilities. So Krishna says, when you are getting happiness from excessive sleep, procrastination, avoiding duties and responsibilities, and you feel happy, that type of happiness, udaridam, is said to be tamasic happiness. Now, human beings have a choice, right? We have a choice to choose sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. So this is where our free will comes in. We should understand very carefully where is the source of our happiness. Okay, the three types of gunas. Okay. Now, with this verse, Krishna has concluded all the 6 topics relating to what is true renunciation. Okay, the 6 topics have been covered. Now, Krishna will take up a very important topic. Rather, he's summarizing this topic starting from verse 40, has also been discussed in the previous chapters, but this is a summary. Okay, so yes, sorry. Sorry, which word is that? Pramadotam, the one which describes tamasic happiness. Pramadotam, isn't it? Negligence. Negligence.
Misunderstand.
No, negligence. That means you neglect your duties, you neglect your responsibilities. Okay. There are many actually translations. There's another word for pramadotam which means intoxication. Intoxication means you are in a constant state of joy because of sleep and laziness, so you avoid everything. Right? You're like an intoxicated person who just doesn't bother about the world. Okay. So now the question is, since there are three types of gunas that are influencing our actions, the next question we want to ask ourselves is, where did these gunas come out from? Where did these gunas arise from? Okay. Because all our lives, all our actions depend on the three gunas. If we choose the sattvic guna, we are on the right track. We give in to rajasic, tamasic gunas, we are going to go on the wrong track. The question now is, where did these gunas come from? Okay. So now, this is a recap of the topics which are discussed in the previous chapters. If you remember, Krishna said that this whole world is made of two components. One is known as material component, the other is called consciousness. Okay. So we are also made up, everything in this world is made up of matter and consciousness. We are also made up of matter and consciousness. Okay. Matter is called prakriti. Okay. The technical word you use is prakriti. So this body is prakriti, mind is prakriti, organs are prakriti. Everything we see around us, the trees, the birds, insects, animals, is all prakriti, matter. Consciousness is that which enlivens prakriti, because matter has got no life. Okay, this body has got no life. It's made of 5 elements. 5 elements have got no life. So consciousness is that which enlivens this body. Okay, so you have matter, you have consciousness. Now the third element is the 3 gunas. The 3 gunas are also in us, but are they in prakriti or in the consciousness? Since we are a mixture of prakriti, matter and consciousness, the 3 gunas are also in us. Are they in matter or consciousness? How many people say matter? How many people say consciousness? That you cannot put up 2 hands. Huh? Sorry, yeah.
We take that with us, the gunas with us when we die. We leave behind the body.
The gross body you leave behind.
We leave the gross.
Right, right.
Also go
The gunas go with your.
with the mind.
Yes, yes, they go. Because, so now,
It's not 100%.
it is part of Prakriti.
It
You
is.
see, when you talk about Prakriti, matter, the gross body is Prakriti, but don't forget the subtle body and the causal body. That is where the gunas are. So gunas are in matter, not in consciousness. Okay? They affect, because why? All of us have got matter, and we are made of the same matter and the same consciousness. But why do we all behave differently? Why do we all think differently? We act differently because of the 3 gunas. So if you're sattvic, you will behave differently. You're rajasic differently, tamasic differently. Okay. So the gunas affect matter. Sorry, yes. Yeah.
How does that now previous in method?
Right.
How that consciousness select one?
How does the consciousness select the,
The next body.
Yeah, next.
oh, okay. How does the consciousness select the next body? Very simple. First of all, we are made of 3 bodies. Okay. Gross body, subtle body, causal body. Okay. So your question is, how does the consciousness select the next body? Actually, it doesn't select, but I'll explain to you. So you have gross body, subtle body, causal body, right? At time of death, what do you do with the gross body? It's cremated, it's gone. Okay. So you're left now with subtle body and causal body. Subtle body is your mind, what you call your memory, your intellect, etc. Everything that's contained in your subtle body. What is in your causal body? See, the causal body, the word causal body, the word there is cause. That is the cause of your next birth. So that is what is going to choose your next body. What is in your causal body? Okay. Now, what is in your causal body? as you perform actions, you leave imprints of your actions in the causal body, the samskaras. So you do a lot of greedy actions, selfish actions. Your causal body contains all its greed, selfishness, and tendencies, tendencies, greedy tendencies, selfish tendencies, violent tendencies, etc., all contained here. Okay. Now, when at the point of death, the gross body is cremated, the subtle and causal body will leave, and what is contained inside the causal body will determine what is your next body. Okay? Consciousness will not determine where you go. It is your causal body will find the right next body to discharge. Because my vasanas are like that, I need to find the right body. Right? So the causal body will determine what is your next destination, what type of body you get. Right? And that's why you can end up with an animal body, right? Or a human body or whatever. Okay. So these two are very important. That's why our actions are very important. What actions we do will go into our causal body, karna sharira. And that will determine your next birth. Okay. So now we've identified that you have matter, you have consciousness, and you have the three gunas. The three gunas affect the material body or matter, they don't affect the consciousness. Okay. Now, the question is, so this is what now Krishna is going to speak about in the next few verses also. Okay. He says now in verse 40, Na tat asti, there is no such sattvam. The word sattvam here stands for living and non-living things. Okay, everything in creation. This word sattvam means everything that you see in creation that is moving and not moving. So Krishna says, Na tat asti, there is no such anything in creation moving or not moving. Prithivam, in this world. Okay, whatever you see in this world, human beings, animals, trees, insects, rocks, etc. Vaha punaha, or again, deveshu, even in the heavenly planets also. So not only the earthly planet, which is called Bhuloka, but in all the 6 heavenly planets, Swarga Loka, okay, in heaven, everything, he says, yet that can be muktam, devoid of AB Tribi Gunahe. AB, these Tribi, 3 gunas. So that means these 3 gunas are everywhere in creation. They are in earth, they are in human beings, animals, insects, rocks, trees, etc. You see, even what you call these flowers, also you can categorize as sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Why there are certain flowers we can put to the altar, there are certain flowers we should not put on the altar. They are sattvic type of flowers also. Food also you can classify sattvic, rajasic, tamasic also. Everything you can classify. Animals, sattvic animal, rajasic animal, tamasic animal. Who is a sattvic animal? Cow. Rajasic? Huh? Lion, tiger. Tamasic? What? Polar bear. Turtle, right? Slow, steady and all that. So, gunas, the 3 gunas are everywhere. In earth, in heaven. Although hell is not mentioned, even the devas also the 3 gunas, sorry, the asuras, the 3 gunas are there. Okay? Yeah. What?
The cow eats and sleep all day.
Cow eats and sleep.
That's a law of service, right?
Yeah. It gives us milk, a lot of things it gives us.
Very action oriented.
Yeah. And it is associated with our scriptures, so we consider it as a sattvic animal. Yeah. So, okay. Any more animals? No more.
Dogs.
Dogs. Either rajasic or tamasic. It will fall there, rajasic or tamasic. Okay. So he says there's nothing in this whole creation that is devoid of the three gunas. The three gunas exist everywhere in this creation, within us. So more important, we have to understand that they exist in us, and where they, he mentions here the word Prakriti Jai. They are born of Prakriti. Where there is Prakriti, the three gunas are born of Prakriti. So that means they have nothing to do with consciousness. They only affect the Prakriti. So that's why what we think, how we act, what are the desires we have vary from person to person. Because you remember in chapter 14, he said, although all the three gunas are in us, but there will always be one guna that is dominating, either sattva or rajas or tamas. Okay, right? So Prakriti Jai, they are born out of Prakriti, out of the material elements. Now, since the gunas are in all of us, we must also understand how these gunas affect us and why. The next important verse is going to discuss, which is another very controversial subject. Why do we have the caste system? The Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, the Sudras. And they all have to do with the three gunas. The three gunas and the four caste system are all interlinked, right? So in the next verse, I think we have time to complete. Okay, we have time to complete the next verse. So in verse number 41, he says now, how these three gunas are now divided into the four different, what we call castes. Okay. Now this is a very controversial subject because every time we are reminded, oh, India, Hindus, all we got caste system, low caste, upper caste, this caste and all. No, there are only four. So let us first go back to the origin of this discussion, which is in chapter 4, verse 30. Where did this caste system start from? Okay. Then next week we'll go more intense into this discussion. Chapter 4, verse 13. So page, was it 80, 84? Okay. 84, 85, right? So first of all, he says, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam. Krishna says, this Varnam, the caste system is called Varnam, colors. Varnam means colors, right? How many colors? Four color coded system. Okay. Maya Shrishtam. Krishna says, God himself created this caste system. So this caste system is not created by human beings. It has been created by God himself. Chaturvarnyam, four colors. And what is it based on? This is the most important thing. We wrongly say it is based on family. You're born in Brahmin family, you're Brahmin. But no, Krishna says, the next line, Guna karma vibhagayo. Vibhaga means it is separated or classified by two characteristics. Gunas, the three gunas, and karmas. So if you have predominant sattvic gunas, you fall into one caste system. You have predominant rajasic gunas, you fall into a different caste system. Now, can the gunas change? Can. Therefore, can your caste change? Yes. So there's no such thing as you're born in that caste, means that is what you are. No. So guna, it depends on your gunas. Number two, it depends on the type of work that you do. So it can be either your gunas or your karmas also. Okay. So when we come back next week, the verses in chapter 18 will go more deeper into this caste system and try to understand how the gunas affect the caste system. Where do we fall in this caste system? And once we know, what are we supposed to do? How do we, what we call spiritually get better by following our right caste system? Okay. So we'll end with a prayer. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Thank you. Hari Om.